Now, the problem that I have with that, and Rachel alluded to it, Kamal also alluded to it, but more so me and Rachel understanding the business of boxing is when you're offering someone something, you are bringing something to the table. In other words, it's your own resources. We know that Shakur Stevenson is signed directly to Top Rank Promotions, right? He's signed to a promoter. He's getting things offered to him. He's getting compensation based on a contract that he's locked in with Bob Arum, a guarantee. So what I'm basically saying is Shakur is getting a guaranteed purse through a promoter, but yet he does not have his own promotional company, to my understanding. He's offering Frank Martin $1 million when I said this in a video that I published about this situation, and people may have looked over it. But what network is going to produce this content? Who's going to pay the licensing fees for this fight? Not only that, but what venue is going to host this fight? Because Shakur Stevenson does extremely well at the Prudential Center in his hometown and home state of New Jersey. We haven't seen what he can do outside of his hometown. So a fight of this magnitude with two young, hungry, undefeated lions on the second tier of being uh, world champions and great fighters, who's putting the money up for this? And that's the key to this whole equation. When Shakur's saying we offered or I offered him $1 million and Frank Martin didn't take it. Well, you can't offer somebody something that you don't have. Shakur Stevenson is not a network. He doesn't own his own network. He's already locked into a guaranteed contract with Bob Arum, a promotion company. And he doesn't have his own promotional company that he's representing in the negotiations with Frank Martin through this DM. It's very simple. So basically, with all of those elements being in existence, Frank Martin technically didn't duck Shakur Stevenson. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Now, of course, Shakur may look at it like, hey, he ducked me. We offered him the biggest bag of his career because his words, not mine. Shakur said that Frank Martin was accustomed to making a maximum purse of $250,000, right? So $1 million should be nothing to sneeze at if we're going to pay you uh, basically triple of the amount of money that you're used to getting paid. But in Frank Martin's defense, Martin can say, all you doing is DMing me, telling me that you're going to pay me $1 million. None of this is on Top Rank's letterhead. None of this information is on ESPN's letterhead. None of this information that you're saying in this DM is on Showtime's letterhead. None of this information that you're saying is on Man Down Promotions letterhead. None of this is on the PBC brand letterhead. So all of this is just a conversation. And Shakur Stevenson is interpreting the fact that Frank Martin basically declined that offer that was through a DM. He's interpreting it as, oh, Frank Martin's a bitch. He's a coward. He's a punk. He don't want to fight me. And I don't think that's the right approach to have because all of the elements that's involved right now should have been in place before the DM happened. Because the great thing about this business, and I keep saying this over and over again, is one of the reasons why I'm on YouTube as a content creator now, is that good representation in this business is priceless. Shakur Stevenson has representation through Bob Arum and Top Rank. They are the ones that should be his mouthpiece when he's negotiating. Now, somebody's going to say, well, Manager Marty, why do they have to be his mouthpiece in the negotiations if this fight might take place on Showtime? Because, watch this now, Rachel alluded to it. She beat me to the punch. If Shakur Stevenson fight on Showtime under the PBC banner while he's still under contractual obligation to Top Rank and Bob Arum, you best believe that Top Rank and Bob Arum will receive a maximum of 30% of the purse that Shakur Stevenson receives. That's just the way business work, and that's the language in his contract. Standard all across the board in the business of boxing. Okay, so that's number one. The second element, since we're talking about representation, is that Jay Prince represents Shakur Stevenson as his manager. That's 10 to 33 and a third percent of his purse going through management. So now we got management getting 10 to 33 and a third percent of the purse from this fight. Then we getting another 30% being extracted from his purse uh, if he fights Frank Martin on another promoter's platform and or card, right? We already at a minimum of 40 to a maximum of 60% of Shakur Stevenson's purse just to fight Frank Martin. It's not worth it. Now, if he was fighting Devin Haney and all of those elements were involved, it kind of will make a little bit more sense because he'll get paid way more money fighting a Devin Haney than he would Frank Martin. And that's only because of star power. That's only because of the beef that has been brewing between these two young men and Devin Haney and Shakur. And that's always, of course, because Devin Haney has majority of the belts in this division. Of course, he would have to get paid more just for that fact alone, because a percentage of each belt, excuse me, a percentage of his purse for each belt that he is wearing and representing will have to be paid to the sanctioning bodies. All right. So I just wanted to put all of those things in perspective before we go hear Shakur Stevenson say, hey, I reached out to um, Frank Martin in the DM, offered him $1 million and he ducked me. We have to understand all the elements and dynamics involved before we rush to say Frank Martin ducked Shakur Stevenson. And just based off the facts I said just now, reiterating what Rachel said and some of the things that Kamal said, we can just conclude right now that because Shakur Stevenson is not a promoter, he is not a representation of a network. He doesn't have the monetary resources to offer anybody anything unless it's coming out of his own pocket. And I can assure you that that would not be good business sense of Shakur Stevenson if he's taking a portion of his purse to pay Frank Martin. A portion of his purse will go to obviously the offices of Jay Prince as his manager, the minimum of 10%, maximum of 33 and a third percent. And don't let him fight on PBC's card or Showtime's network. Then 30% of that will go to Top Rank and the offices of Bob Arum. So let's be clear on that. Rachel, Rachel's back.
Yeah. No, really quickly before my phone call begins. I'm reading it out to you. I pulled it up real quick. Rights, which is term number 2. Fighter hereby grants blank, I'm not saying who this is, the sole and exclusive right to arrange the promotion of all professional boxing matches in which the fighter participates during the term. In accordance with the terms thereof, fighters agree that during the term, a fighter shall not engage in any boxing match other than the bouts arranged by blank under this agreement. And B, this is interesting, neither fighter nor anyone acting on fighter's behalf shall negotiate for nor contract for fighter to engage in any boxing match other than bouts arranged by blank under this agreement. And blank shall be the exclusive owner of all rights and to the bouts in all the media throughout the world in perpetuity. So there you go. If you want to break that down, what I said, but I just wanted to read that right straight from a contract on what rights the promoter has and what rights the fighter actually gives away and what they can and can't do in regards to fighting, promoting fights, negotiating fights, or signing of fights.
Very, very clearly read by Rachel. That is a real live contract. Right before you got on here, Rachel, I don't know if you heard me, but I basically said just a small piece of that in a nutshell. That's standard all across the board in the sport of boxing. When we talk about the language of contracts, I literally just said that right before you came on and
Oh,
read
did
that.
you? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I pulled it. I just pulled one of the first ones up. I searched it in my box and just put promotional agreements, and this is standard for all most of the, and mind you, I've dealt with Gary Shaw, I've Top Rank, Golden Boy,
yep,
PBC, Tekken Promotions, some in the Philippines as well. Like, I'm not telling you which ones these are. I'm not telling you what promoter this is, but I will tell you this is a standard across
yep,
the board for the promoters to say you cannot arrange any fights without me.
yep. I just said it's standard across the board,
Yep.
and even when I said that, Rachel, we're still going to have haters that are detractors of mine that's going to still say I'm a fake manager. This is interesting, Rachel.